Hi, everybody. Welcome to WFSB News, our digital desk as we're streaming. Thanks for streaming with us. I'm Kara Sundlin. And you see, we have Owen outside in Waterbury right now, where we are talking about the testing results for everyone who wants to know when they can have water again. I know they can, at least now they can shower with it. But Owen Kingsley live for us right now. What is the latest as we're awaiting these test results at really any moment?
Yeah, really any moment this late afternoon. We've been sort of told maybe in that 3 to 4 o'clock range. So in the next hour or two, we should know those results of whether or not the tap water here in the city of Waterbury, that's for homes, for businesses, is potable, is clean to drink, cook with, really just consume in any possible way. Right now, obviously, we learned yesterday there's a lot of things that you can do now that people do have that water back. You mentioned you can shower with this, you can clean your clothes, you can clean your dishes. So there's lots of appliances around your house right now if you're in Waterbury that you can run. But again, right now, they do not know if this water is safe to drink. That's the whole purpose behind this boil water advisory that the city is still in and has been since this past weekend. They don't know if there's things like E. coli and neurovirus that could have been contaminated and made its way into the city's water system because of this water main break behind us. Let's give you another look at the scene. So we've been sort of watching this throughout the past week or so, but right here, I'm going to step out of frame for a moment, show you just a big hole in the ground. It's probably not going anywhere anytime soon. So the city has been able to successfully hook up some bypass lines. That's how everyone in the city right now actively has water, but certainly a lot to clean up here. And we'll get a little more into it in the evening shows about what these next steps are here for the city, but they certainly will take advantage of the moment right now of having this big hole and being able to replace some of this important hardware. Now, the other big update for the day today is that schools returned. 3 days off, Monday through Wednesday. We actually have Sprague Elementary School right over here on the other side of us. We're going to give you a quick glimpse, but unfortunately, we're staring right into the sun, so you may not be able to see much of the school itself. They're getting ready for dismissal right now at the moment, but schools finally returned today, so that was a real big win for, I know, a lot of the parents in the community out there. And their winter break, their holiday break for the end of the year is coming up next week, so they're not coming back for too long. But certainly a big way for schools to get those kids back and doing a lot of preemptive things. Obviously, they've had a few days to kind of prepare for this. So schools came back with clean, safe meals. They turned off all the water fountains, water bottle refilling stations, giving kids bottles of water, just obviously trying to keep kids safe until we know these test results, Kara, which again should be known in the next hour or two.
Yeah, Owen, I know people are waiting. It's my understanding that most of the people in the city do now have access to water. It's just we're waiting to see if it's safe to drink. Is there anyone who still doesn't have any water?
If there is anyone out there and they are watching this, please call 311. As my understanding is, everybody has water. Okay. It's the actual water pressure that maybe fluctuates. Some people, it might be a trickle, but really for the most part, just about really everyone in the city of Waterbury has water in some capacity. Some people have been getting delayed yesterday because of various ways that the complex water system here in the city works. Some people are getting delayed, but right now everybody does have water. But again, if for some reason you don't, and maybe you're just an anomaly, call 311. The city would love to be able to get down there and fix it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just showing some video here as we're showing some faucet. What was happening as they got the water in, it starts to trickle. And then you may have some discoloration. That could be normal, but I guess basically they wanted you to have the water trickle and then turn it off so that you can build up the water pressure. Is that right, Owen?
And that's what's been going on exactly, Kara. That's what has really been going on for the past day or so. Is there was a conservation effort last night. They were telling people, hey, you have water, make sure it's running clear, then turn it off if you don't need it. Obviously, there was a lot of people who very, very patiently waited these many days and were very excited about getting to flush their toilets and jump in the shower and do this and that with their water. But yeah, the city, it is very much still in that process of filling those pipes, and they're continuously making progress. But it's a large city, it's a large water system. It takes a long time, and they have been doing so at first very slowly throughout the week so they don't overpressurize and don't fill the system too quickly, because all those old pipes got filled with cold air in that last weekend that they didn't have any water. So when they reintroduced water, doing so while they're all still filled with air was just ready to make them break again and cause more problems. So it was a slow process throughout this past week.
So, do you have any idea why it's taking, say, some hours? If they sent some samples yesterday and we're waiting for the results to come this afternoon, is it unlike, say, a flu test or a COVID test where you wait 15 minutes and you get a line? Like, did they have to do some more cultures, let things grow? What are we waiting for at this point, if you know?
So yesterday, no, great question, Kara. Yesterday morning, they started taking samples, but they got to take samples from multiple different areas around the water system. Waterbury's a big city. They got to go all around the city and get those water samples, and that takes time. They took all those samples. They had to get them to a testing laboratory, and then it just takes 24 hours to do the actual testing. So those got into the laboratory yesterday afternoon. That's when this 24-hour testing process goes, that traces to see, are there any trace amounts or dangerous amounts of things that I had mentioned, norovirus, E. coli, things like that they have to make sure isn't in the water, and that it is in fact safe to drink and consume in various capacities. So that's why it really does take all this time. And that's something I think we also learned back in September over on Huntington Avenue, just a few minutes from here. There's a pretty severe water main break over there for the city as well. It was a similar situation. They kept having road bumps trying to get people water back and fix that situation. But once they continued to test, it was 24 hours until they knew the results.
Yeah. So, and that's something that I know that you're going to be letting us know, that the city's going to be ready to tell everyone. But if I can date back to when you and I were reporting on that news conference, and I do remember officials saying that would be like a perfect rainbow if everyone got to drink today. Everything would have to be perfect. So it's possible we might not get those answers. We might not get the all clear today also.
It is entirely possible, Kara. It is very possible we're going to get those test results. And guess what that means? Waiting another 24 hours for them to do more sampling. Now, I don't know whether right now if the city does already have more samples that they took today to send out as soon as they know the results. I don't know that information. We can follow up the city and try and find that out, but I don't know how quickly that turnaround will be if we in the next hour or so get those negative results that, hey, water is not safe. I don't know whether the city has actually already gotten those or whether they need to now go out and go get them. I would think that they have been pretty proactive and try to be on top and ahead of schedule when they can be when it comes to this situation. I'd have to imagine they probably have, but I certainly can't say for sure that they have or have not.
What's the mood there? I mean, people have to be so frustrated. I did see one of your interviews where someone said it's like living in medieval times. I mean, up until, very recently, not even being able to flush your toilet.
Oh, I honestly describe it as elation today, Kara. There are people who are absolutely elated to be able to flush their toilets. Just like you said, we were speaking with folks in the Green Mountain neighborhood. They were some of the last to get their water. It's a complex situation, but they were some of the last to lose their water and some of the last to get it back, but many getting it back yesterday. We stumbled across a gentleman who we'll hear from a little later this evening, who we noticed out washing his car. He seemed to be in as good of a mood as he has been in the past week. He has a son over in Naugatuck who he has been visiting to take a shower, to go wash their clothes, wash their dishes. They've been bringing dirty dishes to their son's house in Naugatuck so they could actually go wash them while they didn't have water for 4 or 5 days. That just sort of describes, that's a more fortunate scenario. That's a person who has someone to rely on nearby and a way to get there. But there's plenty of people in the city who have been dealing with this, who don't have modes of transportation, who don't have people in their lives who are readily available and have water and are ready to let them have some of those basic quality of life things like taking a shower and washing clothes and dishes and things of that sort.
If people need more bottled water right now, is that still being given out today?
It is still being given out today, only at Municipal Stadium. They had been doing it also at Crosby High School, but of course today school's back in session. So at Municipal Stadium, they have continued giving out bottled water today, and the city, the mayor yesterday and throughout the week has told us that as long as the boil water order is in place, they'll continue giving out bottled water. So they're going to continue doing that potentially tomorrow if these results don't come out as they are hoping.
So obviously you'll be first to let us know what the results are, but let's talk about the restaurants for a second. I know there was some confusion yesterday, some staying open, but basically my understanding from listening to the authorities at the news conference was as long as there's a boil water advisory in place, according to FDA guidelines, no restaurants can or should be opening right now unless they have water from some other source outside the city.
You are exactly correct. It's something that some of our colleagues have also been following throughout the week and talking with restaurants. And it does seem like there has been a certain level of confusion, people not understanding the rules, people, doing things like boiling water to then clean their dishes with and thinking that that was okay. But the city's stepping up very clearly and saying, no, that is not okay. It is not sanitary. And the city does tell us that most restaurants have been pretty receptive of this information and of this guidance, but the reality is there are dozens of restaurants in the city that have not followed this guidance, and those consequences are coming. I actually just got word a short while ago from the health department that at least 34 restaurants in the city of Waterbury are going to be fined to some degree. I don't know those details. We are trying to work on a Freedom of Information Act request with the city to kind of get more details and specifically what restaurants are, suffering these consequences. But there are dozens, and the health department said in very clear terms yesterday that there are restaurants who are knowingly staying open when they are not supposed to be, and these are the consequences.
Yes, interesting because, so many people are using delivery services, DoorDash, Uber Eats. You might not even know that your food is coming from a nearby Waterbury location or someone who's staying open. I mean, the big risk here is that we already have a norovirus outbreak across the nation. We're talking about some pretty dangerous flu strains and some norovirus outbreaks going around. So the issue being that even if you boil the water to wash the dishes, nobody can guarantee the safety of your food prep right now. And that's really the reason that we have to be careful, even though I do feel for those restaurants because they need to stay open.
There's a lot of business lost right now. There's a lot of business lost. There's a lot of restaurants who are suffering. I was just speaking with somebody over at the Green Mountain Golf Course in town. They run a grill there, a restaurant. She says she's been just checking on the restaurant every day. They finally have water. They still have stayed closed all last weekend, all this week. This is a tough time of year to be a restaurant and have to be closed for this long.
Yeah, and then lastly, and I just want to touch on the schools for a moment. The good news is for kids and for parents, well, maybe the kids didn't want to go back, but good for them to be back, that they're back open. And the big issue is they were concerned about having water because some of them had steam boilers and then the safety of the water to drink, so they're giving them water bottles. But have you been able to talk to any families? Did people feel in general, was that okay today at school? I know the kids are just getting out right about now. Kids had an okay day going without regular running water at school?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, when the Huntington Avenue water break happened back in September, school got canceled one day back then. This was something that the school district was ready for and had already experienced. There was actually a day this school year that they had to use a snow day. I use the air quotes for snow day, but they had to take a day off from school because of the water main break, and they had to disable water in the schools. They already had a chance to practice this. So this was and obviously the first 3 days of this week, they've had a chance to really figure out exactly, where is the food coming from for students at lunchtime? Where are we getting that bottled water? Because it's unreasonable to ask kids to go all day without having a sip of water. So they've had a lot of chance to kind of prepare for this. And I a moment ago chatted very quickly with a mom who I can at least say for her, she was very glad to see her kids finally get back into school.
Yeah, absolutely. That routine is important, and we don't need to be burning all those quote unquote snow days just yet. One last question. I know it's been on a lot of people's minds, and you're probably working on this for Eyewitness News at 4 in our later broadcast. I know there's new information coming in. But this isn't the first time it's happened. They've spent a lot of money, and the concern that maybe need to be spending a lot more. We have a lot of old water infrastructure, not just in Water, but other towns throughout Connecticut. I know they've talked about trying to get the state to reimburse. Is there any word on making sure this doesn't happen again? Because people are probably they're having some terror after going through this for the last 4 to 5 days.
Well, Kara, if folks join us on Channel 3, I will have a lot of those answers at 4 and 6 o'clock this evening. Very much focused on that. I can tell you, actually, if my photographer wants to come pan the camera over here. So the broken water main right behind us, this one over here, This pipe, as you mentioned, how old this water system is, that pipe right there installed in 1905. That gives you an idea of how old of infrastructure they are working with, and a lot of pipes like it across the city. You know, a lot of them, it's really no exaggeration when they've been referring to it as being more than a 100-year-old system. So yes, there are a lot of works. There's been about $30 million so far in recent years that the city has spent in upgrading the system, but they have acknowledged all week long how much more needs to be done, how much more money needs to be spent as far as sort of state reimbursement. I don't think the city or myself are prepared to really touch on that subject quite yet, but I can tell you that there is some emergency funds that are certainly going to be made available to do some critical upgrades, and you'll hear from the water department tonight about what they plan to do.
All right, Owen, I was hoping maybe we'd keep you just enough time to find out some of these results, but I know we're getting close to the 3 o'clock mark. I know you've got to get your stories ready for 4 o'clock, and we all have Great Day Connecticut coming up here streaming on WFC Plus. We'll make sure to send push alerts out and bring you all the breaking news as soon as we know anything about those test results and if the water is going to be safe to drink. But Owen, thank you for your excellent reporting, and we look forward to more at 4 o'clock.
Kara, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Everyone hang in there. We'll be back with more news for you starting at 4. And Great Day Connecticut is coming up next, streaming as well.